So today I want to address those who have found themselves or believe that they have found themselves in the wrong marriage and they don't know how to move forward from there. You have gotten married to this person, maybe it's going on 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, maybe even 10 years. But the more you live together, the more you realize that this person might be the wrong person for you. And when I use the word might be the wrong person for you, this does not include violence. There's really no violence going on there, but it just looks like you both are not aligned in terms of value systems. And also, you are not aligned in terms of goals and vision where you guys want to be headed in the next couple of years, maybe even parenting values, how you think the children should be groomed, how they should be nurtured, how they should be parented, and so on and so forth. But, and that's why I'm doing this video, because there are a lot of people in this category. You are not interested in getting a divorce. Yeah, that's it for you. Like you may have said, oh, I didn't choose rightly, I didn't do this, I didn't open my eyes well. All those things have come, but you're just not interested in getting a divorce. Like that's not for you. And maybe your partner also shares that as well. There are some people who is both ways, but they're just struggling through it. As they go through the marriage, they realize that one of the reasons why we seem to be struggling is because we are not aligned on these things that we should have been aligned from the beginning of time. First things first, you should look for a trusted, seasoned marital and family life therapist like myself, because I help couples with this a lot. And that's why, of course, one of the reasons why I have the experience and insights to share this video with you is because I work a lot with couples behind the scene. One of the things you is to look for a therapist, a counselor, a coach that will be able to help you through this difficult time. Is it possible for, if you both are not aligned, is it possible for your marriage to still work? Yes. There are certain strategies that can be put in place for that to make, for you to make that possible, for your marriage to still work, for you guys to see head to head, or should I say eye to eye. All of those things are possible. So the question is how, well, first of all, what are those strategies, and then how do you activate them? That's usually the big question, especially when it looks like people are mismatched in terms of their marital destiny, like they are not aligned in the same direction. So you have to be willing, you both have to be willing and many times, I know more than is giving credit. These couples come in and they're willing to say, okay, what's the way? Like, are we going forward or are we not going forward? So it actually happens for people who think, oh, everybody just wants to get divorced. That's not true. That's why you should actually work with, you should actually ask the experts and not just run on the social media high, the social media steroids out there of whatever information wants to be put out there, because because it happened to two celebrities, then it's now happening to everybody. There are many people who want to stay in their marriage, even though they think it may be misaligned. So having the right and the seasoned therapist and counselor will help you with the strategies and will also help you with the how to activation. Then there surely is there are going to be things that you both have in common that can excite you both, that can keep you guys going. That has to be intentionally built. If it once existed, rebuild. Because yes, you are not aligned, this happened, you are seeing things differently, whatever, whatever. But for you guys to even still come together to get married in your misalignment, there was something there, no matter how little. So that little thing, we are going to amplify it and not just amplify the challenges. Because one of the reasons why we're here is because we've continued to focus on the challenges, and of course it has not moved us forward. That's why we are here, wondering how do we move forward without getting a divorce, because we're not seeing eye to eye, it's not working for us. So those things, you need to bring it out and amplify it, whatever that thing is that you both once enjoyed together. still enjoy together but have forgotten about it, or will still like to continue to enjoy together. There's that something. What That's all I'm saying. That's something. Let's look at it. Let's talk about it. This would really require a professional. Hardly is there any marriage that is on the brink of breaking up that people just unintentionally go through it. No, that's why they work with a professional and all that, because it just doesn't work that way. Just like in medical diagnosis, you definitely need the expertise rather of your doctor, medical personnel to be able to come through with it. And thirdly, I would say you both have to be intentional about marital reorientation and education. Now, a lot of the beliefs and I like this. This is how children should be parented. This is how children should not be parented. This is what should happen. This is what should not happen. This is how we should eat this food. This is how we shouldn't eat this food. A lot of it came from somewhere. And if it can be learnt, it can be not learnt, and it can also be relearnt. So a lot of times, before couples even come into session, they do not realize that I actually need to sit down too, which is why it's good they come into session so their eyes are open. But even for you, I'm sharing this as a resource to also help you prepare for session, not to replace a session. So this is very important. Now, the relearning part is what's the third part, which is the relearning, unlearning, and so on and so forth, is what some people do not know how to do or do not know how to get started on. That part is very critical if that marriage is truly going to survive the way you guys say you want it to survive. You don't want a divorce. Do not forget, you guys have said you don't want a divorce for whatever reason, and your reason is valid. So nobody should come here and say, why won't a person want a divorce? Some people don't just want a divorce. Maybe their children. There are different reasons why people do not want divorce. And if they don't want a divorce, and they want to walk through it, people should be allowed, please. In the case where a person wants a divorce, they can't take it again, they should also be allowed. So one should not come and say, "Oh, why do you not?" Go and do things your own way, the way you think is best. But that's a different conversation, because in this world where it's very quick to just chime into people's matters without really understanding and even acknowledging what it is that they want, what they truly want, hopeful that especially when it's not harmful to them. I already clear that this kind of marriage is not a marriage where somebody is beaten and all that. Again, note that I do this kind of cases, so I won't come and be talking about marriages that are violent and all that and be saying stay there. I will never. There are cases where nothing is it's just the situation of it's a mental, spiritual misalignment sometimes, and they don't know how to move forward. But you can't be realigned. Anyways, to conclude my points, because I just want to share these 3 points and move on, allow you make your decisions. The orientation, the mind is usually set on certain things. And that's a lot of the reasons why one person is not seeing things the way the other person is seeing things or whatever. So therefore they finally agree that it is a mismatch. While that is true, like I said, there's nothing that cannot be unlearned and relearned. So you guys are going to commit to that sacrifice of unlearning and relearning for the sake of preserving that marriage. So the sacrifice, committing to sacrifice means, of course, getting materials that will help you. First things first. Then the therapy session, the therapist should also refer you to different assessments and materials. Then also you are going to be challenging each other's views and trying to understand where the other person is coming from, why they are coming from that perspective, and if it is valid enough for the reason of the marriage. Let's say, for instance, a person eats a certain way. Maybe you eat with your hand. This is just a random example. Now, there can be an argument of, oh, somebody eats with their hand, the other person eats with the cutlery. And the person eating with the cutlery is very angry, annoyed, and disgusted with the person eating with their hand, because they're like, this is not how life operates. But the person eating with your hand just thinks the person with cutlery is inauthentic, and there's this back and forth. Every time it's time to eat, there's tension. As simple as that, this example I'm giving is these are simple things that causes tension in people's houses. Real, as in for real. But anyway, still an example. Now, there's the hand, no hand. If we're going to do the orientation and mind reprogramming there. Of course, we have to understand why one person is eating with their hand and they're so passionate, and the other person thinks it's the fork and the knife for every single thing, even if it's just carrots that the person is eating. She or he was it with the fork and the knife. Now, when they come with their why and all that, they will have all their reasons. The next step will be for them to now say, okay, what is going to work in this particular marriage? What do we want to show to our children? Of course, each before they come into therapy, each point we think is each partner rather would think is the one they are doing that is the right one. So you can then now come to a compromise after understanding each other through your education, mind re-engineering, and so on and so forth. That okay, let's do hand twice a week and let's do cutlery 5 times, because maybe the world that we live in is evolving and there are now more bacteria and more diseases and more viruses. So let's not encourage our children to eat with their hands everywhere they go, because they're susceptible to viruses if they eat with their hands all the time. However, we're going to instill it as a value system so that they can still have the retained culture of eating with their hand. Just as an example, that's just as an example. So there must always be that middle point. Usually, it is very hard for people to be able to come to a middle point because there's no why. They're telling me to come to a compromise. Why should I come to a compromise? So both parties are not able to come to that compromise because there's no strong why on why they are, coming or arriving at that particular junction. They don't have any reason to hold. But if the marriage is important enough to you both, then that reason will have to be the reason. Except you both are just saying, oh, you don't want divorce, you don't want divorce, but you're not serious about it. A lot of times, the couples, at least that I work with, they get serious. Even though they're not serious before, they get serious, or they are serious, and they're like, okay, let's do it. What do we need to do? And then to move forward with what needs to be done. Now, what I'm going to say is that this is going to take practice. Don't just think, oh, you just read one book, you just be on the clouds. Once you're just on the clouds, that's all you need to solve all your problems. There are times where you just still feel like, does this even make sense and all that? But you have to continue to revisit that, and come to the full realization of, hey, I'm doing this because of this. I still am keeping my culture of eating with my hand, or my culture of eating with my cutlery, but for the sake of this marriage, this is how we agree to do it on certain terms. But in our rooms, we're still going to do what it is that we can do. So all of these things come into play because trust me, there are a lot of marriages that I don't want to mix the generation up, please. Is it Gen X now or baby boomers? I think it's baby boomers. Or I don't know if Gen X and baby boomers are the same. Or maybe they are two different generations. But what I'm trying to say is that even generations before the millennials, let me just leave it at that. The generations before the millennials, a lot of the people there stay through with their marriage. And it's not like they were fully aligned. Let's just call what it is. They were not fully aligned for some of them. Some of them took more things that anybody is willing. There are a lot of things that if a person sees it and says it in this generation, they are out. And note that that's not what we are talking about in this video. We're not talking about violence, brains, a person repeatedly cheating and bringing STD into the house. All of those things are even different. And if a person says, I'm out of this marriage because of that, well, they have a valid reason if they don't want to continue. But we're saying that some of these people, especially the women, anyways, men also saw their own share. Just that, of course, women's stories are shared farther and faster. So, women's stories are the ones that are usually amplified. But like I was saying, a lot of these people, parents and people before the millennials, it's not, they didn't like get married to the most aligned person in their lives, but they were able to walk through it back then in the African context. A lot of them did not have all these guide coaches, YouTube videos, and all that, but they were able to walk through it and grow together with the old age. And they started to see this principle, some, because I just shared some, it's not all. Some of these principles that I shared, they started to live it out in one way or the other to just find meaning in the marriage, despite it not being the exact thing that they want. And I will close up by saying there's no marriage that may be all perfect. The two people make it perfect and all that, even when they are most aligned. It's just more difficult where there's no alignment and there has to be talk and discussion and agreement before there's some sort of alignment. So these are the things that makes it difficult. But some of those people were able to thrive through it, and they were able to find ways to find meaning. And while some coped, some managed, some found different ways to run away from reality, it wasn't the same for all. It's not everybody that just coped through it. Some people started to find a strong reason, and that also helped them to collaborate with the other partner, most especially maybe most times the men. And before you know, they were in that marriage till they passed on, or till the man passed on, or whatever the case may be. And they truly had a joyful life. Now you would ask them, if they were to do it again, will they do it with that same person? The answer may be no. But when they looked at the beautiful things that that union had produced, the children, the life, and all that, despite how they may be misaligned in some areas and arenas, they were able to be grateful for that, amplify that, and they move forward with that. Remember what I usually would say: no matter how misaligned a person or two people are, there's always a reason why they came together. And if they're able to work on that reason, if they don't want a divorce, they are going to be able to get something good. That's just the blunt truth. But many times people don't sell this idea far and wide for whatever reason. Maybe because the divorce is the internet, and all that. And we have to, for those who are ready to do the work, because divorce is also not always easy. Divorce is not always easy. So the way people throw it around as if, yeah, it's just a thing, you just snap your fingers and then you are good. That's not how it works in reality, especially when it is your field, which is the field is my field, and you are seeing these things firsthand, how people are hurting. Maybe because you're seeing them through social media. When you work with them at the back end as a therapist, you understand that these things, they are not aesthetics like you're seeing on social media, somebody dancing that hey. What is going on behind the scenes sometimes may not be that way. But there are always exceptions to the cases, of course, because there are some people that absolutely will not be able to stand a marriage, and that's also okay as well. We've established that in this particular video. Thank you so much for watching. I just decided to do this for couples out there who are truly looking for this kind of solution. Do well to share, and also do well to book a session if you need a session. This is a material to just help, but there is more. There is more on the other side of having a session with me to help you for your customized needs. So book a session. I'm SAGENEL. I'll see you on the next video. You definitely can see me on previous videos you've missed. Thank you for watching.